What a weird week, month, year, season of Earth. Apparently, we can't stop killing each other for 5 minutes in America. I mean, apparently that's just what we do now. That is our new cardio. That is why gym memberships are down. Everybody's just out, like straight up, like doing their own version of the purge. So Uvalde, Texas shooting conversations have continued. The absolute failure of the police department, or at least conversations around their alleged failure, has been on deck this week. As a Texan, Jay, what is your perspective on what happened there? Did the police fail to go in? As it turns out now, we've heard that the shooter was in the school for over an hour before the police entered the school. What are your thoughts on that?
Nothing fucking surprises me about these small towns in Texas. Nothing surprises me about the fact that 40% of their budget is spent on police. Nothing surprises me about the fact that they have multiple police departments. You have Uvalde police, but then Uvalde ISD has their own police force. And yeah, these people were armed to the teeth. The police officers, not the shooter. They had bulletproof vests. They had their own AR-15s or whatever the official police version of that is. They had an assault rifle on them, and they didn't go in. So I really, first and foremost, want to put to bed the idea that, if they just had, enough
good guy with
military,
the gun.
Well, good guy with a gun, but also the idea that if they just had enough military grade equipment, they would have ran up in there. Okay, I've seen video of guys with a gun that looks like an AR-15 and a bulletproof vest showing more concern for trying to keep the parents out than going in there.
Right. I'll tell you this much: if all the mothers of those kids were standing out that school, those mothers would have ran in there.
You're fucking right. Some of them did.
No.
Some of them got arrested, got handcuffed, got tackled.
Yeah.
Some of them
went harder on them than the shooter.
Yeah, some of them went around back because they realized the police were going to be too crazy, so they literally broke into the school.
Make it make sense. And make it make sense.
And their excuse was first, someone left the door open. Notice how that actually was debunked. There's security video that shows that the door was actually closed.
Shameful.
They were perfectly happy to throw that teacher under the bus and ruin their career and potentially ruin their life and have them thinking that they're responsible for these kids. Have the whole world thinking that they're responsible for these kids dying. And they were perfectly content with that. And
I don't know.
I don't understand why whoever decided to float that theory and put all of the blame on whoever left that door open. Why isn't that person being railroaded as much as the teacher they were perfectly fine with railroading? Because that was a lie, and you ruined that person's life, at least for a week, by having everyone believe that this person was responsible for this shit. It was
so many discrepancies have come from comparing the police version of events to all the human beings who were standing there desperate to get their children out. It's shameful. I'm not sure how those police officers can walk around that town at all. You would think they just have enough shame to just pack up and move in the middle of the night so nobody even knows that they were ever there. But apparently we live in a world where nobody even has shame anymore.
Yeah, why haven't they resigned? Why hasn't the chief of Uvalde Police resigned? Why hasn't the mayor called for the chief of Uvalde Police to resign?
Well, I hope the voters do. I hope the voters vote based on what these people have shown them.
Yeah.
Not based on what they've said, not based on what you saw now in real time, in real live action, a shooter in a school with children. This wasn't a high school. This wasn't even a junior high school. This was a school filled with babies. And you're telling me that guy went in there? And I'll tell you this much. I know those cops were scared to go in there, and rightfully so. But that's what you claim to have signed up for, is that if something like that pops off, you run in. Those mothers would have run in without any weapons. Those mothers would have ran into that school naked if it was the difference of a chance of saving their child and not, let alone have had a gun and had any backup support equipment. I think it's shameful. I don't know if you saw Matthew McConaughey. He actually went to the White House and gave a speech from his perspective on what he saw. And people had the nerve to actually shit on him like, oh, there goes Hollywood. I was like, he's from there.
Well, not to mention, y'all are Trump supporters. Like, who's more Hollywood than Trump?
Right. So what do you... These conversations have increasingly become schizophrenic that you almost can't... You have to take anything anybody says these days with a grain of salt, because swing a Fendi bag and you're going to hit 16 layers of hypocrisy. That's why we all need to be a little bit kinder to one another. We need to be a little bit more understanding of one another because we are all walking dichotomies. So knowing that, I don't know why anyone wants to be the one that's on the pulpit, saying we need to live like this and we need to eliminate that. There was a preacher in a church who was saying gays need to be killed. What are you talking about? The first commandment of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not kill. We can't even get to the other 9. Let's just start with that one. We can't even come to a consensus on that. So what do we really expect?